Hey viewers, welcome to Vedic Astrology once again. I'm Vanita Lenka. I'm a Vedic astrologer, and this is a tutorial. And as you know, I impart a little bit of my knowledge, whatever I have gained in the career of 30 years. And I want to explain about retrogrades in this series that I have started on retrograde planets. And it's all about retrograde planets, part 4. If you really want to know what is the retrograde planets in your natal chart mean and what exactly do they do, you should watch the part 1. And I have made several videos on retrograde planets when planets go retrograde in the sky. So in the initial summary part, I have mentioned about the retrogression meaning also, as well as what that particular planet does in a horoscope. So what exactly am I going to be talking about today is, as it's mentioned on the screen, that is about Mars retrograde in the natal chart, that is in your birth chart. So when you were born, Mars was retrograding at that time in the sky, and that picture was clicked. So you are born with a Mars retrograde. If it is written R in brackets as it's written in this, if you can see, Mars retrograde is, similar to Mercury, remember. Also, we have to see the house before to the Mars where it is retrograde. Suppose it is retrograding in your 8th house when you're born. So it will also give the results of the 7th house. There are different schools of thoughts I've mentioned in that first part. You can go back and watch. Also, you must see that the Karak, the signification of that particular planet. Suppose Mars is the Karaka, is the significator of property, land, also siblings. So when Mars is retrograde, you must understand that these zones, they do suffer. They suffer, or maybe there is something unconventional attached to that particular planet because that planet is forgotten its own significations. The energy is lacking when Mars is retrograde. You are more expressive. You're more expressive, not physically, but verbally, because Mars behaves like Mercury, as I said initially. So you have that passion, you have that anger, but it is all internalized. Okay, there is a lot of physical frustration that you go through when you have a Mars retrograde in your birth chart. You're very hesitant to clear things. You are very hesitant to speak up. You're very lack on power, and there is some lack of energy also. You don't feel like getting into any kind of adventure. You're not on that risk taking, as we say. You don't want to express yourself or take the challenges as they come in the stride. You are more towards calming side. You want to do things, but you want to take it easy. You want to be, maybe you're very lazy also when Mars is retrograde. Passion is missing, determination and ambition is missing. If there is affliction to this Mars retrograde, then definitely it is going to be creating more of a havoc. If Rahu is there with Mars, or if Mars is retrograde and exalted, again, that becomes like a debilitated planet. So you will be feeling that there is lack of patience, lack of energy, because the energy is latent. It is there, but it is latent. It is within you. It is internalized, as I said. So what happens? You are not able to do the things the way you wish to. Then there is a volcanic eruption, suddenly. That's what, that's a big challenge for you. That's a big time challenge for the people who have a Mars retrograde in their horoscope, irrespective of the sign it is in, irrespective of the house it is in. I'm not talking about that. I'm just sheer retrograde planets in your chart. I'm just talking about that, and I'm covering Mars retrograde, and I'll be covering through how it is when Mars is transiting through, or Mars is in your, not transiting through, but when Mars is in your natal chart in different houses. I'm not taking away, not talking about the sign it is in. I'm not talking about the aspects. I'm not talking about the conjunctions of this Mars. So please stay tuned. I will be starting this tutorial, and it will be starting with, as you can see, with the first house. So when Mars is in the first house, this is a South Indian chart and this is the North Indian Kundali that I've put up. When Mars is in your first house, lack of energy is felt. There's a lot of aggression in you, but at the same time, you are not expressive. You have that trait of, not an animal instinct, I would say, but there is a lot of uh, sensual character, a rash and impulsive character that you carry. So you are more towards being boastful, you're being very temperamental, you can be very emotionally flaring up kinds. There can be problems in the relationship because it is looking at your seventh and the eighth house also. If it is retrograde, it is moving backwards, it's going towards the 12th house also, we should not forget. So they can be that your siblings are away from you, they don't live with you, or they can be that you have a distant relationship with them. You're not too well connected with them. So these are based on my own experience. I have experienced them myself in several charts. So this Mars in your first house can also give you some kind of diseases related to Mars, like nerve issues can be there, blood related issues can be there, headaches can be there, fevers can be there often. These things will be there, but they can be more towards the frequency is more. Okay, you will not be like an unconventional kind of a person, like in Mars direct, you will not be the same. So what happens when you have that kind of energy and the zeal and the that enthusiasm, then there are stress levels which are much way beyond lower under the lower strata. So you feel that when Mars is over your first house, there is lack of support that you get from people also. Okay, so this is what this Mars in the first house does, and you are not able to utilize your energy also. You have a lot of energy, you have a lot of passion, but you're not utilizing it. And that is why the violent outbursts happen. You feel that people around you are negative. They're not listening to you, they're not understanding you. So you have to discriminate between the right and the wrong and the energy, which is, a positive one or the negative one. What kind of energy do you carry? So that you have to see whenever any planet is retrograde, you have to remind that planet, remind the significations of that planet to yourself that no, I have to do it. I can't be lazy. You can't procrastinate. All right. So that's something that happens when Mars is in your first house. Now, coming to the Mars in the second house zone, when Mars is in the second house retrograde in your natal chart, in your birth chart. All right. Mars retrograde. Sorry, you don't mind my handwriting. I have a very bad hand, right? All right. So when Mars is in your second house, so this gives you that lack of connectivity with your family members. Also, the value system is missing. You don't want to follow the conventional value system of the family rituals. Here, Mars is also looking at your eighth house, your ninth house, so some unconventionality in your religion, in your spiritual system, in your mindset. You feel that you are not being appreciated, lack of appreciation. The drive and the security about the material possession, that is missing. You don't have it. Or if you have it, you are going to be very flamboyant. You're going to be showing off a lot, quite likely. Okay. Also, it gives you that material inclination to make a lot of money, and that can be through the unfair means. So you have to be extra cautious about the Mars in this house. It is also looking at your in retrogression. It is coming towards your first house. So this gives you a diversified, speech also, maybe inclination to learn something new, new subjects also, for sure. It is looking at a fifth house, as I said, eighth house and the ninth house also from here. in the fourth aspect, it is looking here. So this gives the drive to the children to complete the task and do something, related to their studies even more. That boost is there, that energy is there. But when Mars is looking at the fifth house, this gives problems in relationships, in your love life. There can be some problems in your creativity, or maybe, you are doing abstract painting rather than the conventional painting. You're painting, but you're painting in a very different manner. Okay, very, very, there's a contrast of what others do and you, something unconventional. So it's not bad. Remember, any planet which is retrograde in your chart is not bad. First and the foremost law and the rule is they're not bad. All right. So don't worry. Mars, if is retrograding in your third house, let's do the third house now. I've just finished the video on Mars transiting through the sign of Gemini, so I thought of doing this video as well, tutorial also. Now, if I see Mars in the third house will give you some kind of communication gap with people. It will not let you communicate your mind completely, or there is very, very bad relationship with your siblings, your neighbors, your relatives. You lack that self-confidence also. You have that lack of self-discipline as well. The discipline is required, when Mars is there in the third house. And any which ways you need that, discipline. But when Mars is in retrograde, it's in retrogression, it is, you're born with it, then this brings about lack of cordiality with the people around you. You don't want to put that effort also. That, no, I want to be with this family. I want to be with my family or your brother or your sister. So this gives lack of connectivity, bonding with your own people. This is the 12th house from the fourth. So this can give you break in education also, I've seen, and it can give you losses through the property matters also, because it is in retrogression. Had it been direct, it is moving towards the, fourth house, things would have been better. But this combination is not bad for the mother's health. The mother is going to be very strong. She's going to be very, very strong. All right. Now, Mars, if is, suppose Mars retrograde in your fourth house. The first and the foremost is the property and the real estate matters, because fourth house it denotes that as well. And your mother also. See, fourth house will give you some negative qualities which are brought from the past, that would center around your father's image, or maybe you are very dominating kinds, you're very, very cruel kinds in the past life. So this brings about that energy to this life also. You are very harsh and very restrictive in your speech with the people around you, with your own people, with your own family members. You are very secluded from them. You don't want to be with your family members. You can be a little unreasonable at times. It can bring about some problem in your character also. Fourth house is character also. We must check that. If you are not aware, you should make a note of this, that fourth house is character as well. So that's what we check when we see this, fourth house Mars transiting through. All right. So this can give upheavals and mental agony also, I have seen, because this is where, Mars loses its big bulb. And this is the zone where moon rules and Mars debilitates here. So this is similar to that kind of placement for it. So this gives you a lot of cruel thought process, a lot of negative thought process also, and you're not having that kind of bonding with the people around you. Retrograde Mars is not considered to be good. That's why I'm talking all negative. You will say that why I'm talking only negative. I'm giving only negatives about this Mars in the fourth house. But you must understand that Mars is also the Karaka for the significator for siblings. It's a significator for property and landed, and vehicles also. So the structure of the vehicle actually we see from Mars. So when Mars is retrograde, it gives some kind of problems in your these areas, synchronizing with your with your brother, your sister, forming a good connectivity with them. Buying property might be always having a problem, and hiccups will be there. Some documentation issue will be there. This is something that I've learned myself. I've experienced. So this can give you some kind of problem, or you're accident prone also in the first house, also in the fourth house also, it is said. And this can also give you some extra passion in relationship and unsatisfied relationship with your wife, because your husband, because it is looking at your seventh house here. So in retrogression, when Mars is looking, this gives extramarital relationships also. The character becomes pretty loose. So you have to be careful about these energies again. Okay. So when Mars is in the fourth house, I have also observed that your education either is very unconventional kinds, you change the school frequently, or there is a break in education, or you change the stream. There is something which is, now you have to confirm me in the comment section whether any of these matched up or not. And there is some, some you use reds a lot in your house. Generally, I have seen people having that. All right. Coming to the next house, that is the fifth house. When Mars is in your fifth house in the birth chart, Mars is in your fifth house in retrogression. Don't forget to add retrogression, because that's why I'm here and I'm making this video. See, fifth house is the house of children, pleasure, fun activities, love affairs. So this brings about a lot of sexual urge in you. At the same time, that emotional bent or that flair is there, that the streak is there of, being very emotional also with the partner. So that's quite likely that, you can be a very dominating character in love life. You can be that you're very, very communicative, you're very talkative, because the warrior fights, he's not communicative. But when Mercury is retrograde, it becomes like, when Mars is retrograde, it becomes like Mercury. So it behaves in that way only. So he's or she's very talkative kinds, when Mars is in retrogression in your fifth house zone. It's like it's in the Leo sign. So that is also quite, dominating. And there is a surgical process that you have to go through for childbirth as well. Children are pretty much in the, on the hardships. They have to go through a lot of hardships, and then they attain success. Also, it gives you some kind of, behavioral, pattern, which is towards aggression, lot of aggression. It can give you some, sexual practices which are very uncommon, overly sexed. So that is something which, can have that criminal kind of a mindset also. See, I'm just disclaimer here. These are all general things. It is not that it's going to be there in your chart. Please, the sign will matter, the placement will matter, then the placement with which planet, aspect of the planet, a conjunction of the planet, what ascendant are you, what is the connection with that ascendant, is it inimical, is it friendly, because this is one of the trines when Mars is retrograde in. Very important. Mars retrograde will go back and will be in your fourth house. So fourth house, fifth house, when you're born with, things are, modifying now here. Things are not that bad. But here, when Mars is looking at your eighth house, Mars is looking at 11th and 12th houses. So this brings about a lot of connectivity with the outside world. Maybe you are born somewhere and you are raised somewhere else. Education background actually is changing. So some education change is there, which we can think of. Mars retrograde in your sixth house. What happens when Mars is retrograde in your sixth house? When R is written, remember it is the retrograde sign. In the sixth house, you have a lot of activity actually. You feel like doing a lot. You become too different than the normal league. People will work out, finish, but you will be like workout, not even take rest, do workout again. So it's like, back to back, you're very, very health conscious, and you're very, very, you're a fitness freak, I would say. You're very, very emotional about your body. You're very attached to your body. That's something which is there. And of course, with sixth house, Mercury going there is like exalted Mercury. So exalted Mercury brings about a lot of communication, and you are having lots of friends also, and you have a skin related disease, and something to do with your rashes. Your eruptions are there, so you have to examine, because it could be because of the Mars, the heat in you. You should have lime juice often to eradicate this problem. All right. And the sixth house also gives us that the our we should not overdo things, because we are overdoing the workouts and things. It can be become making you more towards the hyper you. So you have to tame those energies. Don't be too hyper, relax. Things are not that bad, depending upon your dasha pattern also. I forgot to mention that. So many factors you have to see, not just completely the same for everybody. Suppose Mars is retrograding in your, if you're born with Mars retrograde in your seventh house. Mars retrograde in your seventh house means that the partner would be very unconventional kinds, might be from some other community also. There can be that you are uh, moving too fast in your relationship. You get married quickly. Maybe you are, having lot many relationships apart from your marriage also, or you have relationships before getting married. Here, Mars is looking at your first house also, second house also. So this brings about a lot of unnecessary argumentative nature of yours. You might have some unusual kind of a marriage. You might have some unusual kind of sexual practices. You can be from the other way of other school of thought. So if at all you are into business and all, so you will try to be dominating kinds. Mars is retrograde. So you're very attached to the people around you. You're very attached to your business, but at the same time, you're very possessive. You're very dominating kinds, because Mars is retrograde. Otherwise, it will be bringing about a lot of aggressive energy. You will have a lot of fight with the partner, or you will have some kind of arrangement where you will not be a normal you. So Mars in the, or maybe, you will get cheated by a partner when Mars is direct. Okay. But with Mars retrograde, there is a lot of strength in you to analyze people, who is who, because it is like Mercury. Okay. That is why. So let's take up the eighth house, right? We've reached the eighth house. I'm now a little sleepy. Okay, Mars retrograding in your eighth house. All right. If you are born with this Mars in the eighth house in retrogression, so this can bring about a lot of, see, I will not say that the regular things, that it'll be transformative, this, that. No, this will bring about, it will show you the path towards the uh, the emancipation. This is the gateway to success, I would say, the next step of life, because it is very, very powerful here. Any retrograde planet, any malefic planet which is retrograding in your eighth house becomes double the power. It becomes double the power. It possesses double the power. So here in the eighth house, this Saturn, this Mars is looking at your 11th house also, and is also looking at your second and the third houses. So there is some unconventionality attached to your relationship with your sibling, with your neighbors, with your financials. You have a different mindset. Your communication with other people is rare. So you are not in that zone where you want to communicate with people, you want to be with people. You want to be very, very introvert, and you lack that confidence also. There's much of confusion every time you do certain things. You're very confused. You don't know what exactly is going to take you to another level. You're very confused, you're resentful, you're very impulsive, you're very emotional also at the same time. Okay. Because it's looking at your 11th house, so you know your friends are going to be having a lot of troubles at the place of work, because this is the 10th house from the 11th, right? So what happens for the friends, they can have some different kind of a profession than what they have been educated with. So the education and the profession streams are different, and they can be that you can be very aggressive and argumentative with your friends, and you break up uh, without any rhyme or reason. You will just be within you, you will not speak up, but you will just part ways. Unlike the Mars will be direct. He will just say it on your face that no, I don't want this relationship. Don't move on quietly. No, they are not the ones who are going to be quiet and they just take it like that. No. So it does give you friendships, but there can be some problems in the friendships often. So you have to be extra cautious when Mars is retrograding in your sixth house. So that drive and that honesty and the streak of integrity is missing when Mars is in the eighth house. Otherwise, it is not. If it is direct, it is not that way. Okay. Coming to the next sign, that is next house, that is ninth house. When Mars is in your natal chart in the ninth house. So you know this is the ninth house. I've not mentioned any signs, nothing. The dasha, nothing is there. See, you must check whenever you have to check. You must check the sign, house, lord of that sign. Conjunction of the planet with this. You should also see the aspect of the planet. You should, oh, 1 second, let's write it clearly so that you can aspects of the planets. Then you should see the dasha also. Okay. Lastly, the dasha, and for the event to culminate, you must see the transits, whether the planets are retrograding in the sky or not. So in the ninth house, you have a bent of mind towards the religious. Mars is a warrior. Mars is not religion. Mars doesn't want to get into all that. But it is that you will be, practicing religion either so dogmatically that you would grant no one else the right to your own opinion in religion, or you will militantly or entirely religiously, you will be totally entire religious. Okay, you will not be completely, on that stream. You will be completely extreme in that. Okay. So much here depends on the planets aspecting this sign, as I said, and signs involved to determine which of these two you are, which category you are. Are you having your bent of mind towards religion, or you're completely anti-religion? All right. Also, the philosophy of life is very strong. You're very aggressive, also very offensive, also at times. So that you have to tame, so that you're very self-centric, I would say, when Mars is retrograde in your ninth house. There can be that you can show impatience and impulsiveness to others and then land up into problems because you cannot control that. That is something which is very, very common I've seen in the ninth house. Okay. And this also, is in the it's aspecting the 12th house. So this brings about more of making wrong or irrational decisions and irrational actions, that you can make. It's like a prison, or mental institution or a hospital. The 12th house denotes that. So when Mars looks here, you become more on the criminal mindset. So you don't have to have that negative, mindset. when you have this, so you should work through it, right? Mars is also looking at your third and the fourth houses from here when it's retrograde, and it's moving backwards also. We can take the backward movement also here, because there are so many books which have mentioned this. So when Mars is looking at your third and the fourth house from there, so this will disturb the mental peace, problems with siblings, problems with neighbors, selling of the property or buying of the property will delay, because it is the karaka, the significator for buying a property and lands as well. So this will definitely give you all those kinds of problems, and ultimately you will get frustrated. You will feel that nobody is understanding you and stuff. So you have that detachment kind of a feeling. Then you just close yourself up in your world, right? But don't worry, things are not the same forever. Okay. Now coming to the um, 10th house. Mars, if is retrograding in your 10th house, unconventional bosses I've seen. Very different bosses. They'll be like, completely unsupportive, or maybe you will, because Mars is Digbali here, we should not forget. But at the same time, the Mars here would uh, be very, it is like, the job that you will be assigned, uh, or the authority that you will be at, you will misuse it. So don't do that. If at all you think that you're too stressed and in life, and you take that route where it's a very simple, it's a complicated route, or maybe it's a very, it's not the right path that you opt for, you get too inclined towards that. So that is because of your mindset, which is changing because of Mars. And with the gradual process, it changes. It's not overnight. After 29 years of age especially, you feel the results even more. You can be very impulsive, you can be self-opinionated, you can have some kind of military kind of instinct, or your profession is involved in those areas where you are in the defense, you're with the military services. So because you are very violent, so that's also one remedy that I've seen people do. You should respect your superiors. That's a major trait that I have observed, that I've given it as a remedy, that respect your seniors. Don't think that you are better than the seniors, superiors also. Okay. So you have to maintain that equilibrium in your life to have good. See, generally I've seen with Mars in the 10th house, you can be a physician, you can be a surgeon, you can be a uh, philosopher also, and you can be a healer also when Mars is in retrogression. See, this is not negative, but this is positive, that Mars retrograde can give you positive results as well. As it is, this is a good position. It exalts here, it's Digbali here. So this is something that you the warrior is wants masses also, so he's very happy with people around. So you want attention. Okay, so you should fix up your goal. You should set your goal, and you should advance towards that rather than losing track. Okay, when Mars is in your 11th house, sorry, let's try it again. It's a small box. So what if Mars is retrograde in your 11th house? All right. So when Mars is over in your 11th house, this shows that in the past life, you have enjoyed friendship of inferior type of people, crude, unrefined kind of people. Perhaps too much attention was placed on the external features of the friends, as in like who looks good, who looks, looks are deceptive. You must understand. So what happens that when this kind of a transit, or when this kind of a placement is there in your natal chart, it means that there are people around you who are going to be backstabbing you one day. You feel that there are enemies, hidden enemies around you all the time. You get involved in cheap acts, uh, you know uh, sexual acts, with the people of lower category also. Okay, so this is something which actually should be controlled, and you should have a right kind of friends, because you have the tendency to make you know just all that glitters is not gold. So maybe you get lured by the glittery world, and you feel that this is the right path, but it is not. Generally, I've seen it's not. And Mars is also looking at your fifth house. So this brings about some problems or health issues to your children, or childbirth is very difficult. First child can be male child, depending on the Rashi it sits in. Coming to the 12th house of Mars retrograding in your natal chart, if you're born in with Mars in your 12th house zone in retrogression. So this brings about some kind of connectivity with the outside world. You are maybe working abroad, or you've left your home and you are now working for somebody else, or some organization overseas, or your education is overseas. Okay, and maybe your siblings are with you, and they are retrograde, but it's in the 12th house, so it should be seclusion, right? No, but it's not that way. It is actually supporting that third house. So maybe you will be supporting your brother or sister to come to you, or your uncle or aunt, because it's looking at your sixth house also. Don't take loans. Never take loans. You'll never be able to pay off the loans. So you have to be extra careful about these things. Sorry, I forgot to mention here Mars retrograde. I'm covering the last one. So Mars retrogression basically is something which should bring about more of humility in the 12th house zone. It should bring about more of patience, which you're lacking. I've seen they will not be sitting still. Mars retrograde bonds will not sit still. They will keep doing something or the other, and there is some connectivity with Jupiter also. We should not forget here. So they are restless. At the same time, they are more concerned about the humility and the humbleness and the charitable you. If you're not, you should be, because Mars retrograde will definitely improve on these areas. You should spend more time doing for others. That's the only remedy that I can suggest. Do for others. All right. So this is it for the Mars retrograde. I hope you all are enjoying my tutorials. Please do write in the comment section as to what you didn't understand and what you want to understand as well in this related to this video. Please don't write questions, like my so and so planet is so and so. So that actually is not right way of seeing the horoscope. You have to see the whole horoscope in totality. All right. Stay blessed, everyone. Keep watching my videos. Do subscribe in if you haven't till now. Om Tat Sat.